Phones on mute, please. Thank you, Allison. We're going to call to order the meeting of the West Windsor Township Council for May 19th, 2025. Allison, can you please call the roll?
Gawas. Here. Jeevers. Here. Mandel.
Here.
Weiss.
Here.
Whitfield.
Here.
And have we adequately noticed?
Yes, on January 17th, 2025, to the Times and the Princeton packet, filed with the municipal clerk, posted in the municipal building and on the township website. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have three important ceremonial matters today. The first one is the recognition of West Windsor Township State finalist, Rohan Jokeler, in the 2025 Lewis Bay Second Future Municipal Leader Scholarship Competition. Mayor, I believe you have the form there.
Yeah. Congratulations, Ron. I'm happy that every year when we announce this, a number of students from West Windsor Plainsboro School District participate. I know how busy kids are in high school, but I'm very happy that a number of them participate. And we have won our fair share of awards. It's quite an honor to be a state finalist since there are so many kids from every town in New Jersey participating. So congratulations.
Mayor, okay, thank you. Next up, this is Pride Month coming up in June. So Dan, if you'd like to read our proclamation.
Thank you. A few comments as well. Good evening, everyone. So last year we made history by issuing a proclamation recognizing Pride Month for the first time. And tonight we continue that commitment. This is an important moment, not only for me personally, but for so many people in our community who deserve to feel seen, valued, and safe in a place that they call home. Pride is not just a celebration, it's a declaration of visibility in a world where LGBTQ+ people are still too often pushed to the margins. It is a statement of resilience at a time when our community is under attack across the country through harmful rhetoric and policies designed to erase our identities and silence our voices. I've had the opportunity over the past several months to meet with many WWP GSA student groups, spaces where young people come together with hope, with courage, and with questions. And the questions that come up often are we protected? Are our rights secure? And are we safe? I'm proud to say that here in New Jersey, we have some of the strongest anti-discrimination laws in the country. Our schools are required to teach inclusive curricula. Our laws protect LGBTQ+ individuals from discrimination in employment and housing and healthcare, and we continue to fight against hate crimes and intolerance. These protections matter. They ensure that our children can grow up in an environment where they don't have to choose between who they are and the opportunities that they deserve. But laws alone can't create the culture of acceptance that we need. Acceptance isn't just about what's written in policy. It's about how we treat each other. It's about friendships that uplift and support each other. It's about allies, colleagues, teachers, parents, and friends who step up and speak out when they see injustice. So acceptance is more than just inclusion. It's about celebrating the beauty of our differences. It's about recognizing that diversity isn't something to tolerate, it's something to celebrate and cherish. And when we embrace that mindset, we all benefit. When people feel that they belong, they thrive. And that is what we should all be striving for. And that's what makes tonight so powerful. This proclamation is more than symbolic. It's a message to every LGBT plus person, especially our youth, that you belong, that you are seen, you are valued, and that you are loved. Tonight, we're also going to honor Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month, a time to recognize the enormous contributions of that community to our nation and our township, and to reflect on the adversity that they have endured, from the Chinese Exclusion Act to the internment camps of Japanese Americans, from the targeting of Sikh and South Asian communities post 9/11 to the horrific rise in anti-Asian hate during the COVID-19 pandemic. This community has known deep pain and prejudice. Their contributions are an essential part of the American story, and they deserve both celebration and solidarity. Both proclamations tonight are celebratory in nature, but there are also acknowledgments of struggle and a promise to do better. They call on all of us to remember that true equity is not just about recognizing identity, but about removing barriers. It's about building a community where all people, regardless of race, gender identity, or who they love, can live free from fear. So I'd like to take a moment to recognize that today, May 19th, also happens to be National Asian and Pacific Islander HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. This day is dedicated to breaking the silence and stigma about HIV in the AAN and HPI communities, promoting education, testing, and access to care. So as we celebrate both proclamations tonight, it's important to acknowledge the unique health challenges at the intersection of these identities, and to reaffirm our commitment to equity, inclusion, and public health for all. And so as we uplift these communities, I want to invite all of you to join in the many Pride celebrations and ceremonies taking place in Mercer County and around New Jersey, from parades and flag-raising ceremonies to panel discussions, youth events, and family festivals. There are many opportunities to stand together, learn from one another, and celebrate love, identity, and inclusion. So here's a short list of events that I've compiled that can be also found on my website calendar. The Princeton Borough Pride flag raising ceremony starts on Friday, May 30th at noon. The prom for queer youth by High Tops held at the Arts Council of Princeton is on Saturday, May 31st at 5 p.m. The New Jersey Pride Parade and Festival in Asbury Park, which is both the oldest and largest Pride celebration in New Jersey, is on Sunday, June 1st at 11 a.m. Hopewell Township Pride flag raising ceremony is on Monday, June 2nd at 6. The Ewing Township Pride flag raising ceremony is on Tuesday, June 3rd at 12 noon. The Mercer County Pride flag raising ceremony is at Mercer County Park right here in West Windsor on Wednesday, June 4th at 5:30. The Trenton Pride flag raising ceremony is on Friday, June 6th at 4 p.m. An expungement clinic will be held on Tuesday, June 3rd at 3 p.m., sponsored by the Mercer County Division of LGBTQ+ Affairs. There's the Pride on the Plaza Festival and Dance Party at the Heinz Plaza by the Princeton Library, sponsored by the Arts Council of Princeton, is on Friday, June 6th at 7 p.m. The Trenton Pride Parade and Festival is on Saturday, June 7th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Princeton Pride Fest is on the Princeton Pride Parade and Festival is on Saturday, June 14th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Lawrence Pride Fest is on Sunday, June 15th at 9 a.m. And finally, the Robbinsville Pride Fest, which is celebrating 5 years of Pride with their neighboring towns, is on Saturday, June 28th from 2 to 4 p.m. So whether you're part of the LGBT+ community a proud ally, or simply somebody who believes in the dignity of all people, I encourage you to participate. This is our proclamation. Whereas this nation was founded on the principle that every individual was born free and equal in dignity and rights, and the mayor and township council of the Township of West Windsor calls upon the people of this municipality to embrace this principle and work to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists. Whereas while society at large increasingly supports LGBTQ+ equality, it is essential to acknowledge that the need for education and awareness remains vital to end discrimination and prejudice. Whereas LGBT+ individuals have immeasurable impact to the cultural, civic, and economic success of our country, our state, and town. And whereas June is celebrated as Pride Month on the nation, state, county, and local level throughout the United States. Whereas the Township of West Windsor is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equality for LGBTQ+ people in our diverse community. And whereas celebrating Pride Month influences awareness and provides support and advocacy for West Windsor LGBTQ+ community, and is an opportunity to take action and engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights. And whereas West Windsor Township joins the state of New Jersey and County of Mercer in honoring the history of the LGBTQ+ liberation movement in supporting the rights of all citizens to experience equality and freedom from discrimination. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and township council of the Township of West Windsor hereby recognizes and proclaims the month of June 2025 as Pride Month in support of the LGBTQ+ community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sonia, this is the first annual Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month proclamation for West Windsor. So if you would present that to us, please.
Sure. Thank you. Before I read the proclamation, well, Dan, I think you covered all the feelings very well, so I won't get into that. I want to thank the governor for having a celebration tonight, celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Obviously, I can't be there because I'm here, but here it goes. Whereas the Township of West Windsor cherishes its rich tapestry of cultures and the diverse individuals who call our town home. And whereas the vibrant and multifaceted Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities form an indispensable thread in the township's social fabric, with their varied languages and traditions adding immeasurably to the lives of all its residents. And whereas the United States of America has designated May as AANHPI Heritage Month, a time to acknowledge and celebrate the profound history and enduring contributions of AANHPI Americans to our nation's story. And whereas the values of family, community spirit, and diligent work ethic exemplified by AANHPI, coupled with their unwavering commitment to the idols of our country, have played a vital role in fortifying and upholding the fundamental principles of our nation across generations. And whereas AANHPI entrepreneurs, researchers, and educators fuel our economy and enrich our community through their dedication and an innovative spirit, serving as powerful role models for the next generation of Americans. And whereas AANHPI have left an indelible mark across a wide spectrum of fields, including science, education, medicine, law, politics, business, culture, military service, charitable endeavors, and athletics. And whereas AANHPI actively contribute to the well-being of West Windsor as dedicated volunteers, first responders, teachers, healthcare providers, business owners, professionals, service personnel, and government officials. And whereas throughout the month of May, the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities unite to honor their rich and diverse heritages and time-honored traditions. And whereas we deeply appreciate the multitude of contributions made by the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities to our beloved nation, state, and township, and we resolutely condemn all manifestations of prejudice and discrimination. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this fifth day of May, 19th, right? 19th day of
19.
May 2025, the Mayor and Township Council of the Township of Westminster, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, hereby recognize May as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in perpetuity.
Thank you. Nice, very nice. Okay. Right. We're very appreciative. And we're now going to move on to public comment. We have a 3-minute limit per person. And I'm going to ask everybody to address the chair that wishes to speak. And I do want to point out that this is for general public comment. We do have a number of ordinances on the agenda, and they will have their own hearing time for those particular ordinances. So if you look at the agenda and you see a hearing for which you wish to speak about, there will be an opportunity before these are voted on. If you wish to speak particularly on any, there is a second public comment period, but if you wish to speak on any resolution that will be voted on, please make sure to speak on it in the first public comment period. Saying that, I will now open the public comment. Do we have anybody on the list, Allison?
There's nobody on the list.
So, okay.
Thank you. William Rutledge, 19 Scott Avenue.
It's not.
You'll have to speak right into that microphone, so you can
Yeah,
either
it's
read.
on.
You can hear me?
Yeah, you can either take it out or try to lift it up
Could
a
take it
little
out of the-
if you want. Might be a little easier. All right.
Okay. William Rutledge, 19 Scott Avenue. Thank you all. Appreciate it as always. Just wanted to remind you from the Berrien City, Princeton Junction neighborhood. Back in November, we gave a presentation and I realized that the budget is coming up. And so we're hoping and requesting that there will be funding available this year to begin making the safety improvements, including reducing the speed limit to 25 miles an hour all the way to Route 571 and improvements to the crosswalks at the intersections along Alexander Road and Wallace. Let's see, Scott Harris, have no flashing markers, for instance. And we presented some data that showed the number of accidents that occurred in that area. So just that's it. Basic request that you take a close look at that this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was easy.
Thanks.
Thompson.
You.
You can tilt it down.
That'll work. Yeah. Mm.
Fit back
Testing.
Yes, please.
Hi.
Try, oops.
I'll just hold it.
Yeah, stay close to it so we can hear.
Hi, I'm Susan Conlon, 98 Harris Road. Thank you. Yes, I'd like to second my colleague and neighbor Burr to mention a few months ago, we had the opportunity to take a walk together and look at some of the conditions in our neighborhood, looking at intersections, crosswalks on Alexander Road in particular. And then we followed it up with a a report and a presentation we made here to all of you. And then after that time, I sent some correspondence and asked for some follow-up. Hadn't heard back from anyone on that. We actually, with the exception of Dan, spoke to us a little bit about the budget process. So we're aware that while there's money in the budget to make improvements for these types of upgrades for pedestrians and for everyone, and motorists as well, everyone using the roads. And what we're hoping for is to move forward with them. And we realize that there are quite a few urgently needed are the crosswalks at Alexander and Harrison, Alexander and Scott. As Burr mentioned, there are no flashing beacons there. Very dangerous to cross. And we're very concerned with people of all ages, our commuters, and also especially the number of students who attend West Windsor Plainsboro High School South who walk down Harrison Cross at that intersection. So if possible, because we're trying to figure out how to best use our time to direct our time and attention to this and move forward. It would also be helpful if we could have a little bit more transparency about how the process works so that we're not just coming here and going around and around in circles. I don't know if that would mean, is there somebody, instead of appealing to all of you, if there was somebody who could be designated to help us with this process. And we're aware that there's many other places throughout the township where residents have very similar concerns. So I think they as well would benefit from having a more a clear process. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Hi, Kevin Rinaldo, 106 Harris Road. I just wanted to come and show support for everything that they just said. I think they summed it up rather well. If we could just, as Susan said, if we can find out some more information moving forward, so we know where to spend our time when we get together in the groups that we have to discuss the things that, we're hoping for in that area, it'd be wonderful. Another thing, just on a side note, I was curious to find out, or if anybody would know, the new roundabout on the other side of the Washington Road Bridge.
Kevin, could you?
Oh, sorry. The new roundabout on the Washington Road Bridge on the other side. It seems like the center portion is pretty flat. And I haven't seen it, but I've talked to numerous residents that have said that cars are going straight across it rather than going around the roundabout. Now, if you look at the one that's on Alexander Road by the bridge, it's lifted up, it raises. This one is flat with the road, so cars can just go directly across. Another concern I had was when you drive that portion of the road, there are quite a few bumps that aren't labeled. And there's a concern for motorcyclists. I did have a friend that ended up passing away from a motorcycle accident because they were on a road and they hit a bump that wasn't marked. So it's just a concern that not all of those are marked very well. And when you hit it with a car, it is jolting. So it's a concern for motorcyclists as well. But that's all. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak?
Good evening, Dave Kimmel, 11 Scott Avenue, in the same neighborhood as Susan Burr and Kevin. So I echo their comments as well, that we had the pleasure of walking the neighborhood with a lot of everybody, a lot of people more than 6 months ago made their presentation. So looking for some updates on what's happening or what may be happening in the future. Of course, the budget, there's a hearing for that tonight. So please keep that in mind in the future when those projects are planned for road improvements and safety for people that walk and bike. But beyond that, we had other requests that maybe aren't so budget related. Like what's the easiest thing that could be done right now? And one of those would be taking
Could you move in a little closer?
taking action to reduce the speed from 30 to 25 in that very small stretch of road on Alexander. That's something that does not require the budget, as well as intersections, for instance, Scott and Alexander. There's signs that are missing on some sides to alert people that there's a crosswalk for people crossing the street, as well as in comparison at Harris and Alexander, in one direction, in the middle of the road, there's a stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk sign that's, on the yellow line in the middle, but there's none at, for instance, Scott and Alexander. Just outside here, when you walk in, there's 5 of those just sitting on the sidewalk. I think maybe we could take 1 or 2 of those and just put them. It could be a really easy thing to do. They also don't cost money if we want to leave the 5 out there. But those are some quick comments to reiterate what my neighbors said, that keep us in mind for the budget, but also what can we do? What's really easy to do right now that really doesn't cost any money that could improve safety, like those things, or even some flexible bollards like Princeton has on Washington Road that'll narrow the traffic. Also, just to reiterate, I know the agenda also has the Complete and Green Streets resolution for adoption tonight. The West Windsor Bike Ped Alliance, we made some comments last time and submitted a letter. I'm not sure if administration and council got a chance to look at that before whatever was prepared for the meeting. It didn't look like there were many changes based on the comments, but just want to make sure that you have a chance to look at that. And thank you again for your work.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Everybody, please try to stay up to that microphone. Otherwise, it doesn't get recorded also. Even if we can hear it, it doesn't wind up in the recording.
Right.
Thank you.
Sylvia Ascarelli, 27 Melville Road. So among the many things that are being honored this month May is National Bike Month. And one regular part of that is the Ride of Silence to honor those who were hit or worse, killed while riding their bikes. It's an international event that's held at 7 p.m. local time on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. So in this case, it's the day after tomorrow. The West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance is holding a 10-mile slow bike ride, leaving from the senior center if it doesn't rain. Another way to keep cyclists safe and also other vulnerable road users like runners and walkers is by obeying the state's 4-foot passing law. The West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance and several other nonprofits in the county are working to get 4-foot passing signs on roads in West Windsor and other parts of Mercer County. In addition, the West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance offers everyone a magnet that visually explains the law. Anybody who would like one, I'm happy to give you one. And if you have any questions about the law and how it affects you as a driver, please come talk to the WWPBA. We're at the farmers market every other week. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody else?
Hi, Ann Clifton, 18 Galston Drive. I just want to let the mayor and council know that WWBPA started its digital road safety campaign last month. This is something the mayor had asked us to do. We sent in 21 road safety messages to the recreation department, who's in charge of programming the 2 electronic bulletin boards, one here right at the municipal complex grounds, and one across from High School South near the Ron Rogers Arboretum. So we've asked that messages be displayed, rotated maybe every 3 weeks. So 2 were put up last month. There's another 2 that went up earlier this week. So they deal with walking, driving, and bicycling safety. So just hopefully as people are stopped at traffic lights, they will pay attention to those signs. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to get up and speak during public comment? Oh, anybody else wish to get up during public comment? Seeing none, I will close the first public comment. And now we'll go to administration comments. Marlena?
Yes.
Before we do that, Mayor, did you want to address some of these during your, okay, so, Mayor will address some of the questions that were brought up, during his comment period after Melina. Thank you.
I only have a few announcements this evening. Brush collection is occurring in Zone 3. Residential garbage collection is once per week. The Public Works facility does not accept household trash. And the Memorial Day schedule is as follows. Monday, May 26th is Memorial Day. Municipal offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. There will be no garbage pickup. Monday's collection will happen Tuesday. Tuesday's garbage collection will remain on Tuesday. There is a possibility some collections will continue into Wednesday. Waste Management, who is the township's garbage hauler, will work as diligently as possible to ensure collection is up to date by the end of the day, Friday. Trash should be placed at the curb no later than 6 a.m. on your scheduled collection day. And the Public Works facility will be closed on Saturday, May 24th, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thanks, Andrea. First, I'll answer some of the comments as I heard them. Sometimes I have hard time hearing. Please talk to the mic as if you're kissing it. Otherwise, it's hard to hear. And if she can't hear it, I definitely won't hear a word.
Yeah, but I took some notes, so.
Yeah. So, first, you spoke about roundabout on the other side of the bridge. I did talk to the county about it, bring it up. County engineer loves roundabout. He's aware of it. He did it on purpose. I'm not traffic engineer, but I did mention to him because I travel there twice a week and you can easily go over it. Even with, I have a small car, I can still go over it and not feel it. So I'll continue to talk to him. I wish it was much higher and much more difficult to go over. So they are aware of it. You did ask about putting signs in the middle of the road. When that road was redone, there were 5 or 6 signs put in. Unfortunately, they disappeared in a week. That sort of makes your point that people drive like crazy. So they didn't even last a week. We had put signs in the middle of the week. There's a budget hearing today. I'll talk about the actual budget a little later, but simply because they passed the budget doesn't mean the project can start tomorrow. After they pass the budget, in a month or so, they will pass a bond ordinance. Once the bond ordinance becomes effective, then the CFO can certify that the money is available and then the projects that are described in the budget can take place. So it's a much slower process than private industry, but that's required by law. So probably that's why most of the items included in the budget don't start till second half of the budget, because that's how the calendar works. I want to thank WWBA for the public service announcements, because I've always said, we will do whatever on our part to make roads safe, change signs, make it road diet, but a major part of it is in developing a sense of community and driving responsibly as it's your town and your neighborhood and you're driving on your street. Because I keep talking to the police. Police have taking campaign for various different offenses. And when I ask them to keep track in a particular week, they tell me 60-70% of people are West Windsor residents, which means it's us, our neighbors, our friends. And I have talked to a lot of high school seniors too. If they can educate other seniors and their parents, that would go a long way in trying to fix some of that situation. I'm happy to announce that the county agreed to give us a early voting location. We started our request a little late, so they couldn't give it to us for primary, but for the general election in November, we will definitely have an early voting location. I want to thank the county executive and commissioners because I know it came down to money and they did find the money in the budget. And I want to thank both Henry and Linda for helping me push it. We did go to the county meeting and then the election committee meeting several times, and they did know that we were serious about it. And I'm very glad that they approved the location, and we should have an early voting location in West Windsor. Last time we didn't have a location. The earliest location was closer to East Windsor or Princeton. When we looked at the data, we have more voters than both those towns. More people from West Windsor voted than both these towns. So there was really no reason not to have a voting location. So I just want to thank the county for doing that. I'm also glad that the NJ Transit settled their strike. I was getting a lot of queries and requests. I have zero control. Neither the governor nor the union nor NJ Transit listens to me. So he knows, he's laughing. So I'm really glad they settled because at one point NJ Transit was determined to close the NJ Princeton Junction train station. But I just want to thank Amtrak because they did make a lot of unscheduled stop at Princeton Junction. I do know because my daughter, she didn't get off, but she was surprised that the train stopped and a lot of people did get off. So thanks to Amtrak for making it possible for people to travel those days. This week, we have received a lot of emails and complaints about once a day garbage collection. That decision was made a while back for budgetary reason. The total budget went up by significant amount, and it wasn't financially feasible to continue the 2-day collection. Now, some people have written to me, oh, it's only $20 a year, $25 a year on my taxes. I'm willing to pay that. That is one issue. The other issue is most people don't know that we have an appropriations cap, which means we can only spend X% more than what we spent last year. Even if you're willing to pay taxes, we can't spend more than what the appropriation cap is. This year, because the garbage collection went up so much, we did get waiver from appropriation cap for that expense, but that's not guaranteed in future years, which means not only you have to come up with $25 more to pay for that, but far more important and far more painful is to figure out equal amount to cut from the budget because we always reach the appropriations cap. So that's the other important point that people need to understand. And I know as painful as it is for some people to get used to it, in the West Windsor collection policy is still far more generous than any other town. We don't restrict to one can. Whatever you put out, the garbage people will take it. So I understand it will take time to get used to it, but that was a necessary decision that we were forced to make. And I did receive a comment on the complete and green street policies. We have incorporated some of them, not like paragraph 9 changes were made, paragraph 2 changes were made. Some of them we are looking at it, and I did talk to Francis, and we decided to see how it works for a couple of years, and then we will come back and revisit it and make the other changes that the bike and pedestrian suggested. We did look at it, and Francis did comment on all of it. So, and lastly, the Memorial Day Parade. If anybody wants to ride in their car, they have a fancy car. We have received some requests from organizations that they want to participate. You're welcome to participate. Just contact the township and we will guide you how to do that. So I hope to see a lot of people both on walking and with their vehicles at the Memorial Day Parade on Monday. Thank you.
Thanks. Mayor, there were some questions from a number of people from Berrien City about the walk we had taken with them.
Yeah,
last
but
year.
that's,
And as far as how they can be kept informed of which items we think we'll be able to do.
yeah, but that was my comment about how the budget works was in respect to that. Once the budget is approved, we will come and I will contact them and work with them to make sure all the projects are done.
Okay, so excuse me, Irene?
I'd like to make one comment. There is an item on this evening's agenda, 2025 R-127. It authorizes the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Aurora and Associates to provide professional engineering, survey and design services at Wallace Road and the Alexander Road intersection. The concern is with site distances. They're going to take a look at those areas. So just wanted to bring that to attention.
Mhm. Yeah, that one's, that's on there, and I know we had talked about that one before. I believe some of the ones they're talking are more like Harris and Scott, so so should they go through you to get some update, or they're looking for a process at this point? Who should they contact?
Yeah, they can email Mayor and Cynthia will get back to them. Cynthia generally monitors that email.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. At this point, we're going to go to council member comments. Dan, would like to start?
Sure, just a few little things. I'm going to echo the mayor's appreciation of our getting our early voting site in New Jersey, in West Windsor specifically, coming up for the fall election. There's not enough time to get it done for the primaries. So thank you for all the folks, both who are working to make this happen, both in front of the scenes and behind the scenes. I think it's a great testament to the willingness of our county commissioners to make this change for West Windsor. It costs money to do this, and they put the money up to do it. Also want to sort of echo sort of my support of the prioritization of crosswalk improvements on Alexander Road. I think the question from the community is just when they talk about transparency is understanding the prioritization of the specific projects that they're advocating for. Our budget has a big chunk of money for road, crosswalk, pedestrian improvements, and that's great. We will be approving that later today. What it doesn't have is it doesn't have the specificity of exactly which streets and which roads, and that's ultimately a decision that the administration makes in their prioritizations. So if as we move forward through the year, if you can be more specific about the prioritization of which roads are going to see these changes and improvements, I think that would go a long way to providing more information to the public.
Yeah, I mean, in response to that, I mean, I'm not the one who makes that decision. The engineering division looks at all the
You're
pending
their boss.
requests. I'm their boss, but I don't dictate them to choose this road or that road. It's done professionally based on professional input.
Yeah, and so when you get to that point, that kind of information would be very valuable to the community to hear, as opposed to waiting until, a resolution gets passed. So I think
Yeah, but in the budget, I think in our folders, you'll see there is listed streets and roads that will be improved under this budget. I don't have the exact page number on me right now.
Paving, I saw that, but not, I will take another.
Yeah,
look
we
at it.
can take a look at
Yeah,
that.
No, I think that's the kind of, when people say
No.
transparency, we're just looking for that.
No, on the roads, every few years we hire a outside company which drives every road in town and ranks them 1 through 5.
Yep,
Yeah.
I've seen
That ranking is on the township website, so you can go and look at how your road is ranked. You may not agree with them, but that's
Sure.
consistently across the
And
township
that's great
by.
information to have, and I
Yeah.
think we would like to see.
Yeah, that's.
I would like to see
yeah.
that information for other projects as well.
That's-
So it's just a matter of communication. And finally, thank you to the council for doing the Pride Proclamation this month, even though it's May. Pride is not until June. Our next June meeting isn't until the 16th, which is halfway through the month. Our June schedule is a little skewed towards the last, because the last Monday of June is our last council meeting. So I appreciate that and want to wait until that month. And also, I'm very honored to inform you that I've been honored with the League of Conservation Voters Emerald Award this year, which happens to be given out during a ceremony on the 16th of our council meeting. So I will not be able to attend that council meeting as well. I would invite everybody to come to that ceremony as well, but then we wouldn't have, we couldn't have a meeting here. So thank you for your patience today.
Thank you, Dan. Sonia?
Sure. Well, congratulations, Dan, on the award. Yes, we'll have to be here, so we can't attend, but we'll be there in spirit. I don't have much to say. Our young gentleman is not here, but I just wanted to congratulate Rohan Zogreker. He is a senior at North. I've seen him be present at school for various activities and events, and I think I'm looking forward to reading his essay, which made him one of the finalists. I want to congratulate the Dutch Neck Presbyterian Cooperative Nursery School for celebrating their 55th anniversary this year. My kids went to that school and they created a really good foundation for them in their academics and school life. I was very happy to join them this weekend celebrating it. I do remember in 2020, we started various events, and we did one event to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and then COVID happened. So they waited till 5 years later to celebrate their 55th. So I just want to congratulate them. There were many alumni, right from the students from first batch of that school were present at this event, and it was really nice to meet everyone there. I also attended the Attitude and Reverse annual event this past weekend. Just advocating for mental health, wellness, and it was a beautiful event. That's it.
Thank you. Yes, that event for the Dutch Neck was beautiful. It was very nice to put together. I enjoyed it. Martin?
Sure. Two comments. First one to any Knick fans out here in the community. I'm not a Knick fan, but I'm an incredible. Like, they call me a basketball savant, so I'm a basketball fan, big basketball fan. So anytime the New York Knicks, I worked for the NBA for 8 years, so I'm very aware of the magnitude, not only entertainment-wise, social media, and culture-wise, but also economically. When the Knicks are good, when the Knicks go far, it's very, very important. So if you're a basketball fan, you obviously should want the Knicks to, go as far as possible, the finals, because it's been so long, 25 years since the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, 1999 for the NBA Finals that they played against San Antonio Spurs in that shortened year. And then before that was 1973 and 71. So it's been a while, 73. So it's been a long time since they won a championship. So I just want to congratulate any Knick fans in the community. Also, congratulations, Dan, on your award. Well deserving, so very much so. Wanted to congratulate you as well. We talk about safety in our community continuously, and the effectiveness of us paying attention as drivers. So as the weather is better, as it is now, and gets better and better, more daylight, obviously each and every night, we have an incredible community of walkers and joggers and bike riders. So as a community, I just want residents to be cognizant of that when they're driving throughout our township. Obviously, we can't control individuals who do not live in the township, but for us as residents, we have to pay attention because we have a huge, huge walking community. And as the weather gets better, we'll see more of that. Just wanted to also agree with the proclamations this evening. And as we see, the country and divisions that are in the country, I just want us overall to continue our awareness of cultural respect, ethnic respect, lifestyle respect. Is very, very important for us as a community because we cannot control what the nation does, but we can control each other, and what we do with our residents, with our neighbors is very, very important. That we respect each other, respect each other's backgrounds, cultural differences, and things of that nature, because that's pretty much how unity grows and how unity as a community gets better. And I think if we see more of that instead of oppositionist messages, oppositionist comments. The commonalities far outweigh, and as a people and as residents of West Windsor Township, I think it'll only make us better, and it also set our generation up, the next generation up more effectively to grow and be more humane. And I think that also coincides. I always talk about resume, and we live in an incredibly intelligent academic community, and many people and many young people build their resume, and we all probably have resumes and jobs and things of that nature, which is typically what goes on a resume. I charge people in this community as we go forward. This has something to do with proclamations, agreements, sometimes the divisions politically. I charge people in our community to build a resume and put down the times that you serve, the things that you've done for others, the things you've done for your neighbor, because I think that's an incredible resume to have. And many people really focus obviously on their careers, which is incredibly important. But I also want to see people in our township serve more, volunteer more, give more to others, because I think that's a very, very powerful resume to have, because that's a resume that lasts, and that resume will be something that is effective to someone else's life, can be an impactful, empowering, enlightening to someone else's life. So even the young people, I speak to young people all the time. I've been speaking for years at basketball camps and different social and educational events for kids. And I always tell them, build a resume that's built on humaneness, build a resume built on humanity, build a resume built on serving your community, because that will far outweigh. Sometimes people have 7 to 9 jobs before they retire. But if you're giving to people, you're helping people, being a blessing to your neighbor, being a blessing to those in the community, that's also how we build strength as a community. And that is it. That's all the comments I have this evening.
Thank you, Mark. Linda?
Yeah, good. Well, certainly I'm also wrote my signature on those proclamations, and very, very proud of our community. We're very diverse, we're very inclusive, and we work together. There's so many different organizations, people from different cultures, races, sexual orientations and all, but we come together, we respect one another, we value each other's presence. So I think that's part of what makes West Windsor so unique. Congratulations, Dan, on your award, and congratulations to Rohan. Coincidentally, Susan, I did bring the report, from the walk that we did coincidentally tonight, and because I was going to bring that issue up, but a lot has been said about that already. I think what the issue is that when you have the report, like where does it go and who's going to make decisions on the requests that are being made? Maybe every request can be fulfilled, or maybe not, for different reasons. And there might be some technical reasons why, but that requires, township engineering, community development, to look at some of these issues more closely, want to reduce, the speeds. There's problems with crosswalks, flashing beacons and all of that. So that's going to require a professional evaluation. So you've already heard, we had talked privately a few weeks back about the process. So, but I think moving forward now, once the the funding is approved, is for the administration, whoever it is, whether it's the mayor or community development director, to contact you or the group and have a conversation about that, because I think that's what I believe you're looking for, right? So it doesn't go into a black hole. You need some answers back, and you'll get them. So okay. All right, good. Early voting, thanks to County Executive Dan Benson, the county commissioners, because they had to go through a budget process and add money to the budget for the early voting location for November. Mayor, you had made some comments with, I guess it's the County Board of Elections. You went to that meeting. Andrea and I went to a commissioners meeting and kept pushing. The entire council unanimously passed the resolution in support and asking for the early voting for West Windsor for our residents. So that will happen this year. So we're thankful to all of them, and it was a good group effort, I should say, right?
Okay. Right, on a few other matters, I attended along with Mayor Marate and Andrea, the grand reveal of Northwestern Mutual's newly renovated office space. And it's a wonderful, nicely appointed office at 202 Carnegie Center Drive in West Windsor. They had invited all of us to be there. Northwestern Mutual is the marketing name for the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company. So my thanks for the tour and the small bites. This past Saturday, I was joined by a large group of community members and members of the public and others for the annual Attitudes in Reverse Walk and Memorial Butterfly Release in Community Park. And AIR has educated more than 200,000 young people across our country about good mental health. And also they have a specialty training program for dogs and people who wish to become trainers. So if that interests you, please contact them. They have a website. It's a wonderful organization that is effective in youth suicide prevention. And on Saturday night, I also went to the Dutch Neck Presbyterian Church Cooperative Nursery School's 55th anniversary. And they had a silent auction. The school serves a lot of families in West Windsor and the surrounding communities, and they educate the young children in non-denominational environment with an educational philosophy that is based on social and emotional learning. I've known many people who have had their children go through the program, and they were very, very pleased with that, and the children were happy. So if you're looking for some preschool activities, check them out. The, let's see, Memorial Day weekend is coming up a little bit, seems a little bit early this year, but next Monday we'll have our annual parade, and just we're certainly grateful to all who served and lost their lives in defending our democracy. So I hope to see everybody at the parade next Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. I also want to ask people, if you're not marching in the Memorial Day Parade, please come and cheer us on. I think there's a lot more groups this year. The clerk's office has been really trying to rev things up. There's going to be ice pops after the ceremonies. The Girl Scouts will be there. I think some Boy Scouts, the Little League, their Historical Society is going to have their old ambulance actually driving through the parade. So the fire departments will be there. It's going to be a good old-fashioned appreciation for our fallen soldiers and our veterans parade. I'd also like to congratulate Dan on the award. And I'd also want to remind everybody that the Revolution West Windsor 250th USA Anniversary Logo Contest is going on now. Designs are due on June 1st. Become a part of West Windsor history. I mean, a lot of you have seen the 225th and the logo, and it was used on mugs and T-shirts and all kinds of things. And for the 250th anniversary of the United States, where we want to have a nice West Windsor Revolution logo, and that could be your name as the designer. So please go to the website, which can be reached through Historical Society website. Learn how to submit your logo design. I also appreciated the proclamations tonight. I have close family members who are part of both groups. I know very well what they went through, particularly as younger people. My own daughter works as a therapist specializing in some of these issues. So I appreciate that we are celebrating everybody in West Windsor. Saturday was another successful Attitudes in Reverse event and butterfly release. AIR does an incredible job increasing mental health awareness and helping prevent suicides. We're lucky to have AIR and Trish and Curtis Baker as part of our community. Please consider getting involved in this important cause that does affect all of us. Tonight, we'll be voting on the West Windsor Township budget. This is my sixth budget on council, and over the years, we have worked with administration to increase council involvement in decision-making earlier in the process. We have started new traditions since that time. Council members now attend the departmental presentations to administration the prior November. The council president requests all of council to submit their budget priorities. The priorities are compiled, and the new council has a workshop discussion during a January meeting along with the mayor. This gives us influence before the budget is formally handed to council at the end of February, making the process go smoother and more responsive. After we get the budget, council members analyze it and hold several hours-long public meetings with department heads and the chief financial officer, who will be presenting the budget to us tonight. We do that pretty much all through the month of March. We get further public feedback and the budget is finally introduced. What you see tonight to be voted on for adoption is the culmination of many hours of work by the mayor's staff and council members. Thank you to everyone for a sound budget that addresses the needs of the people of West Windsor, improves many areas, including public safety and pedestrian, bicycle, and road safety, and at the same time has no increase in the municipal tax rate while actually increasing our fund balance. I'd also like to thank the county for giving us this early voting location that we've been really anxious for, especially after last year with all the different people coming to us and asking about can they vote. And I think that this is something that's really going to be a plus in getting out the vote in West Windsor. And I also want to recognize Allison from our clerk's office. She's been very instrumental in helping also get this early voting location. I know I went to 2 meetings, I think one with Linda and one with the mayor of the county commissioners. By the end of it, everybody was really rooting for us, I think. And it was a matter of money, and I'm glad they were able to find the money, as I think I had mentioned to the county executive that he had said that our budget represents our values, and one of our values should be getting everybody an equal access to voting. One example of how we maximize the use of our budget dollars and increase safety is a resolution tonight, R126, which is the contract for the new Edinburgh Road resurfacing project. It is paid for partially by a grant and includes pedestrian safety improvements on the road and sidewalk. Edinburgh Road has never had a safe, contiguous pedestrian pathway to cross Lonwood Boulevard on the east side since it was built about 40 years ago. I want to thank engineering for designing this important safety feature into this road project, along with the other improvements. While on safety, I'm pleased to say that we'll also be voting on R134 tonight, which is a new complete and greet streets policy for West Windsor Township, recognizing the need for both environmental and safety considerations when repairing, designing, and approving streets. I was happy to tell the planning board at their last meeting of these new requirements for developers. Thank you, and turn it over to Allison. Do you have
announcements? Memorial Day Parade, of course, we said is on May 26th. Ceremony starts at 11 a.m. or parade starts at 11 a.m. with a ceremony to follow. And more information can be found, of course, on our township website. The primary election is, of course, on Tuesday, June 10th. On Tuesday, June 10th, the polls open at 6 a.m., close at 8 p.m. Our ballot box is open, located in our municipal complex here by our senior center. Early voting starts on June 3rd and runs through June 8th. Early voting hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The locations for early voting are posted on our township website. Just a note that registered voters in Mercer County can go to any of the locations listed for early voting locations. That will be for early voting only. And that's it.
Thank you. We're going to go into the public hearings now. Before we start the first public hearing, I believe John, our CFO, is going to give a little presentation on 2025-05. Did you want to read that first?
Yep. We have 2025-05, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
John?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you.
John, can you get that a little closer? Pull it up a little bit.
Is that better? Okay. Tonight before you is ordinance 2505. It's the 2025 budget appropriation cap, and it serves as a financial planning tool for subsequent years' operating budgets. The ordinance must be adopted prior to the adoption of the 2025 municipal budget. The Director of the Division of Local Services has established that the 2025 budget shall be limited to 2.5% cap increase on the amount of the budget subject to the cap. Local government cap law provides an increase to 3.5% by ordinance, which is the ordinance before you tonight. Adoption of this ordinance permits an additional $382,647.61 increase in the final appropriations, and will provide us with $854,082.67 as a cap bank for the 26/and/or 27 budgets. The 1977 budget cap law requires the divisional local director to establish a cost of living. The COLA established for the current year 2025 municipal budget is 2.5%. Therefore, municipalities can only increase their previous year's final appropriations by 2.5%, subject to certain exceptions, without utilizing the provisions in the COLA ordinance and the prior year cap banking. The COLA ordinance is a financial planning tool for subsequent years' operating budget that allows the administration and council to deal with budgetary pressures in accordance with statute. Adoption of the COLA ordinance permits the necessary increase to appropriations up to the statutory permitted 3.5%. And more importantly, allows us to bank for up to 2 years any unused appropriation authority. Without this ordinance being approved, we will not be able to bank any of our appropriations. The vote to approve the COLA ordinance requires a separate action from introduction and adoption of the annual budget. The vote on the municipal budget determines the amount of appropriations authorized to be spent in the fiscal calendar year. If the ordinance not passed tonight, council cannot introduce the 25 budget. Just a quick breakdown of the actual cap bank ordinance and what it provides for next year or 2027 budgets. Coming into this year, we only had a cap of 98,000, which is very low. We like to keep between 800 and 900,000 for any emergency situations that might arise, such as COVID. We all went through that, and we had to appropriate some emergency items, and we did have over 900,000. We were fortunate enough, we were able to get a lot of grants to offset those amounts, so it didn't affect our overall tax rate. But we had the flexibility because we were able to keep that banking. We started with 98,000, and late January of this year, the Division of Local Government, through the local finance board, gave us a one-time exemption for our garbage bid, which allowed us to bring close to 400,000 away from the cap, which helped toward the 850 that we're banking. And they also gave us two other exceptions, one for workers' comp insurance, which went up dramatically, and liability insurance. I'm sure all of our insurances have gone up in the last 2 years, and we're no exception. Between those three items of this 854,000, close to 600,000 represents those cap bank adjustments. That was a one-time thing. So we didn't have to use it this year, but those items probably will be going up next year. And this will allow us to use this amount of money for next year, because we're already starting in the negative between the garbage and I'm sure the insurance will go up, and healthcare is probably something we're looking for another increase. We were fortunate this year that was only 3.5%, but I don't know where that's going. So
John, just can you, because I can hear, the cap bank that we will be giving this year is how much?
It's going to be 854,000. We started out with 98, but like I said, 600,000, and it's being created because they gave us one-time exceptions, and we took advantage of that. Well, when you introduce this, as long as you adopt this, then we'll be in good shape. So
And we get
sir,
2 years to use that, right?
we do. So I turn this back to you. If there's any questions from council.
Yeah, what I think we can do is probably open the public hearing.
Yep.
Then we'll do, a motion, and then after the motion, council can discuss and also ask John any questions. Does that work for everybody, hopefully?
So you're going to need a motion to open the public.
No, we just open the public hearing and then we have a
Okay.
vote when it's over,
Okay.
to close it. I'm opening the public hearing only on the part of the budget that involves the 2025-05, which is the ordinance to exceed the municipal budget and to establish a cap bank. Does any?
I just
sorry.
want to add one item as an example of what this really does for the township. Think of it like you and your significant other or your business partner, you create a separate bank account. And in that bank account, you can only, both of you have to sign off on the check to use any of this money for future emergencies. This process, if we were going to need to use any of this 800,000, the mayor and administration would have to do a special emergency appropriation, which would have to come in front of council for approval. And that would require you to adopt it with a super majority, they call 4 out of 5 votes. So there is a checks and balance. It's not like this is money that we can spend without approval by council. It has to work through the budget process or in a special emergency resolution. Okay?
Okay. And just for clarification, this isn't actually money. It's
No.
it's the promise that we have the ability to spend money if we have it.
Correct.
Yes. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this section, 2025-05? John?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. John Church, 11 Princeton Place. I'm pleased to support the adoption of the cap bank ordinance this year. Some people who may have been around for a while may remember that years ago, over a decade ago, there was controversy about cap banks. And 1 year, the cap bank actually ordinance did not pass. But those times are over now, and we're living in an age of inflation, and we never know what's going to happen from year to year. The last few years have been pretty bad inflation-wise, so we have to deal with this. And so I think we need this flexibility to handle budget emergencies and other situations that may arise. So I'll have more to say about the actual budget after when we get to that hearing. But again, I'm pleased to support the adoption of this cap bank ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Does anybody else wish to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
You get a roll call?
Gauss,
Yes.
Chevers.
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. And now I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt 2025-05.
Salute.
Second.
Is there any council discussion on it or questions for John at this point?
I just want to point out that we often sort of abbreviate what we say. So this is an ordinance to not to exceed the municipal budget, but to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limit. Sort of make that clear.
We haven't even passed the budget. So what this is the state says 2.5% they give, and this has nothing to do with taxes. This is just appropriations. And the state gives us the 2.5%. They give the council the option of raising that to 3.5%. And then we get options to bank, which doesn't mean banking money. It means if we don't spend the full amount now, if we don't spend whatever that amount is, that within the next 2 years, that gives us a little bit of a chance to exceed the cap for those 2 years. Okay. So there's no real money when it comes to the cap bank. It's just a promise for future councils, actually, that they will have that option of being able to spend that at this point. Or for current council, if that's part of the budget, depending on how the particular budget works that year. If I say anything wrong, John, feel free to jump in.
No, sounds good.
No.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Can we go ahead with a roll
Okay,
call
roll
vote?
call vote. Gauss,
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Thank you. Now we're going to move into the budget presentation for the actual 2025 budget, which we will open the hearing after John's presentation. Thank you.
Well, you gave a really good explanation of the process earlier, so I'm not going to repeat it. We did spend three days of, we had budget hearings with the department heads and full council, which were open to the public and televised. It was over 10 hours. We hashed out a budget, which was introduced in April. This is exactly the same budget that we introduced, no changes. We were self-reviewed this year, which you already approved that resolution. So we're ready to go once we give the presentation, and then we can have a vote, and then we should have a budget within a couple weeks. Okay, so we're going to start off with this is the 2025 municipal budget on May 19th for the public hearing. And the first chart is the total budget comparison. This year's budget is 53,465,919, which represents a 6.36% increase over the 2024 budget. That represents $3,195,795 compared to $50,270,124 in 2024. The two categories, the main categories in our budgets are total salary and wages increased by $872,190 or 4.73%. And the other part of budget, which is known as other expenses, increased by $2,323,605 or 7.30%. The top three increases in our appropriations this year is as follows. Note principal payment is the largest increase, and what note principal of 1.4 million. And what that represents is our debt service that we start to pay down for our 1-year notes. Right now, we're doing 1-year notes because the bonding market is not very stable. So once it stabilizes, we hope to go out to permanent financing. But until we do that, we can do 1-year notes up to 10 years. We've done it for 2 years now. So we're approaching our 3rd year. By the 4th year, you're required to start making principal payments. The mayor and council is elected to start making those payments early because we did have a good year as far as revenues. So we have appropriated $1.4 million in increase this year in note payments. So we're getting ahead of that so we can have more of a level pay down over the next 5 years versus a big jump in year 4. The next increase is salary and wages of $872,190. And this includes the creations of 7 new positions this year due to the growth in the township. That's 2 police officers, 2 EMTs, 1 fire, and 2 public works. I know the mayor and council has been after the professionals to increase these areas, but as you know from the cap ordinance, the last 2 years we had no cap. We were very fortunate to get these exceptions, which is allowing us to provide these new positions. So even though the salary and wages seems like a large increase, it represents 7 new positions, which is the reason for a 4.73%. Because the average raise for everybody this year was 3.25. So the difference represents these 7 new positions and the minimum wage going up for summer employment and pool and things of that nature. So that's the reason for the salary and wages as the second largest. But with that, and with a 0 tax increase, we still are able to provide 7 new positions in different departments throughout the budget. And the third largest increase was a refuge collection. Just this year, it's going up by 321,000. And that's because we elected to go once a week during the summer instead of twice. If we did not, it would have went up about 700,000. So unfortunately, we had to cut that back because of just the economic situation that the garbage bid was. We had an old contract that was 5 years old, and our pricing was pretty good. And in the last 3 years, we were looking at either an 89% increase or 57% increase. So we elected the 57% increase. We're getting this cap exception this year, but next year we will not probably get it. The state has only been generally giving you a 1-year exemption to roll into your base. So we're already in a negative position for next year for that. So that's why that cap is very important. As far next slide, please. As far as the department percentage of total budget, public safety represents the largest portion of our budget, which is 20.69%. And that includes police, EMS, and fire. The next largest percentage of our budget is statutory, is how the state represents it. And that includes pensions, social securities, and reserve for taxes. Reserve for taxes is an amount that we have to budget it for cash flows, and it represents a small amount. We're very fortunate that we have over a 99% collection rate. The average in the state is 97. But for that 1% we don't collect, we have to still give the 100% of the monies for our tax levy to the county and the schools. So we need a cash flow. So that's built into the budget. And I just want to remind everyone that we only represent 15% of the total levy, both operating and open space. The rest is school and county. Next slide. Is the revenue percentage total budget. Our total revenues increased by 3,193,000 or 6.36. We did have a very good year this year for revenues. And even though we're using $3 million more in revenue, our fund balance went up by 5 million. So even though we're using more fund balance, we still increased our remaining fund balance. We've had a very good year, and the top 3 increases in revenues is surplus anticipated, the 3 million that I spoke of, interest on investments, 300,000. In the middle of 24, and we awarded the contract in the late 24, we went out for RFPs for banking, and we received 8 RFPs from different banks throughout the state. And it's happy to say that our revenues went from 900,000 to 2.6. We got a very good deal on our banking relationship compared to our old, so that our interest on investments is the second largest increase of revenues. And the third one is the uniform construction fees. We're increasing that by 200,000 this year. That revenue item, we brought in about $5.7 million last year, but we're only anticipating 2 million because we anticipate that to slow down a little bit this year to a little over 3 million. We're trending very well. As of right now, we've collected over 2 million. But as you well know, we may collect the fee now, but there's a 2-year process for some of these big projects where we still have to go out and send guys and do inspections. So, but with the new affordable housing round 4 and the added construction that's going on, I think they're going to be busy for at least another 3 to 5 years. So our top 3 revenues is the number 1 is our local tax rate, what we call the local tax for municipal purpose. And that's the local bill for, we give the residents for our portion of the tax rate. The second largest is surplus anticipated, because we've always been a very conservative town as far as revenues. We've always been able to generate our fund balance and to replenish it the following year so we can anticipate it the next year. And local revenues, which represent 11.74% of the total budget. Now to the nitty gritty. The municipal tax levy this year is going to be $26,281,888.49. This actually represents a slight decrease of less than 1% of 0.89% or $235,958. And that's because our total assessed value of $6,153,352,100 also decreased by 89,000 or 54 million. So, and the reason for our assessed values going down in 2024 is some appeals for some office complexes, but with the growth and the new construction that's coming on this year, we anticipate that figure to go back up. The average residential assessment for 2025 is $525,107. The municipal tax rate stays the same at 0.42 cents. So we have a zero increase on the local level and a 0% increase. So for the average residential household of municipal taxes of that 525,000, a local resident pays $2,243. So I applaud the mayor and council. And like the mayor said earlier, we don't have a revenue problem generally. It's the appropriation portion. So we have another year that we do have a zero property tax rate increase. I'm going to turn it over to you, Chair, if there's any questions.
Okay. At this point, does anyone want to ask questions now, or we can wait until after the hearing? We'll wait. Okay.
Okay.
I'm opening up the public hearing on the budget itself. This is for the 2025 budget vote. Would anybody like to come up and make any comments? Please, John.
Thank you. Thank you again, Council President. John Church, 11 Princeton Place. Just a few comments on the budget, and I did circulate a memo a few weeks ago to council and the administration with some specific comments. One increase that really struck me, and perhaps so we can get a little bit more of an explanation, our workers' compensation expense, workers' compensation insurance expense went up quite a bit, more than 22%. I don't know whether that was due to an increase in claims for workers' compensation. I don't know. Maybe it's not related to that, but perhaps a little explanation would help. That was by far the largest percentage increase that I could see. Just a few more remarks. In 2023, we got a windfall of nearly $3 million from the American Rescue Plan, voted on by Congress and approved by the president at that time. That has really obviously improved our own finances. We have this money that just falls down from heaven onto us, more than almost $3 million. And that we lend out some of it and get payments for that, interest for loans. So this is money that looks like it's free money, but ladies and gentlemen, this is not free money. This added to the national debt, which is getting to be worse and worse of a crisis all the time. We're going to have to pay for this at some point. I had a few more comments. I guess I'm time limited on this. In my memo, I wrote about a misspelled sign that may be in process of being corrected about engine braking, which was misspelled. And we see that sign at Washington Road, where coming off of Route 1, and also by the PNC bike.
We're fixing those.
Fixing that. Good. Thank you very much. I also mentioned, I think we're getting a lot of new apparatus, fire apparatus and police cars and so forth. I'm just wondering whether we get any credit for trade-in values for the used vehicles. I mentioned this, some of these things are worth an awful lot of money if you could sell them. The fire equipment especially is a lot of money. So I mentioned that, and I'm just wondering if that could be accounted for. I also mentioned that it would be desirable to have a list of all our capitalized vehicles, along with their VINs and vehicle ID numbers and mileages. You could update this list annually I know we have a lot of these capitalized vehicles out there. Be nice for the public to know what the mileages are. I also talked about the Vaughn Drive extension, and I know we're thinking about planning on doing that. I was hoping that maybe the W squared Avalon Bay people could actually contribute to the cost of a possible Vaughn Drive extension, because it's really to benefit them more than anybody else. And I know there was they had money available from their off-street road assessment program. Whether any amount of money is left for that, I don't know. Anyway, that should be taken care of, and I hope that Avalon Bay can contribute to the cost of those studies. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, John. Does anyone else wish to comment in the public hearing on the budget itself? Okay, seeing nobody, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Dawes,
yes.
Jeevers, yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes, thank you. And can I get a vote on the budget? Motion to adopt?
Salute.
Second.
Okay, we'll open up to
Roll call,
discussion.
please.
Roll call.
Oh, no, we're doing, we have, council gets discussed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there any on council? I can go down the row if you want. Dan, any comments?
I think we had a pretty lengthy process. I think we have answered questioned and got all our answers. So it's good to see that we are able to keep the taxes flat, municipal taxes flat.
Yeah, I agree on the taxes flat. And one thing that I do note is that sometimes towns will keep the taxes flat for a year or two by rating the fund balance. And in this particular case, we have gone the opposite direction. We've not only kept the taxes flat, but we've actually increased the fund balance. And I think that's rather admirable. And it's probably one reason why we have such good ratings is that we have a lot in reserve.
I just want to thank John and his team too. You have worked really hard to get this budget where it is. And to answer Mr. Church's question about when we get new vehicles, the old vehicles, I'm pretty sure we did that.
We go over that in the budget process. We have a general philosophy. We generally keep most vehicles have a useful life of 5 to 10 years. We generally keep them 15 to 20. And by the time we're done with them, we have a bunch of them sitting right now in front of Public Works on their front lawn. We're really in the process now of having what they call a public auction. So we'll be giving you a resolution in the next probably month or two, where you approve an online auction, and then we'll auction off the vehicles. The police keep the vehicles. It goes from patrol, goes to maybe detective, then it rolls to extra duty, and then once they're to a point where they're not worth fixing, then it goes over for auction. So we don't really trade them in because we don't really see much of a value. For us, we just use them until they're no longer useful.
And sometimes they can also take the lights off, or some of the.
They do.
Off on
The
the old
park.
cars and put it on the newer ones.
Right.
When they can do it. And
When they can do it, it depends on when the models change, and then
Right.
they have to get all new equipment.
By the time we're done with them, they're museum pieces.
Yes, they are. As far as workers' comp goes, it's just the nature of the beast at the moment. We were very fortunate for the last, before 3 years ago. For 10 years, we had very little increases in our insurance. But now we're getting substantial increases. We are in a self-funded GIFT, which other municipalities in mid-Jersey, which is the model right now. There are some GIFTs in North Jersey that didn't do the necessary increases, and they're having difficulties. And the average increase for if we were in a private, would be even larger. And as far as the American Recovery Act monies, the township and the mayor, I applaud you for appropriating that money in 2024 to be used to fund part of our sewer improvements. So we it did not go to fund balance. It went to actually to fund half of our $6 million sewer improvements in town. which was a usable, allowable use for that. So instead of us having to borrow, we took that money and used it to fund part of that ordinance.
And we used it for something that we had to do.
That has a useful life of about 40 years.
As opposed to
Yep.
just sort of giving it out to whoever
Correct.
might want it.
So we didn't use it as a one-time revenue. There's a lot of towns right now that are having financial difficulties because they use that money to supplement their revenues as a fund balance, let's say. We didn't do that. We used it for hard improvements in the capital.
And I want to thank you, John, for your direction in keeping us safe.
Well, I appreciate that you guys, listen, because that's half the battle.
Linda?
Yeah, thank you, John, for your work. And we've worked together, about 17, 18 years?
It's been a long time, even when I fit another 15 years when I was a consultant. So it's about 35 years ever since you've been here.
Yeah, well, we're going on 20 in July.
There you go.
Right. So anyway, so as was mentioned, we had a very open budget process. All of our meetings occurred here in room A, open to the public. At the end of the meetings, we did take public comment if anyone came. And then they're broadcast live and then also rebroadcast. So if anyone was interested in that, they could at least watch the broadcast. A few other things. I think it's a responsible budget. We have a flat tax rate for the municipal budget. We've also achieved AAA bond rating this year, and that'll assist us with lower interest rate.
On our interest rate, we were rated again early November, late October. We will be doing another rating because we'll have to do a 1-year note. So we'll have another rating come October.
Right, good. I know a lot of residents during the year, they want to talk about bicycle and pedestrian improvements. And so, yes, I know. So that amount in 2024 is just looking at it's capital budget. We will get to that in a different meeting. But we had spent or budgeted $561,750 in 2025. The council is recommending $945,000 for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we are listening. There's a lot of needs all around town in different neighborhoods. So we are, trying to fulfill those requests and those.
And I will add that the process is now that once this budget's adopted tonight, and then I send it to the state and they approve it, which will take probably another 3-4 weeks. Then I will give you the council a draft ordinance for your review, and that will incorporate our capital budget that we approved, and that just gives us the authority to go forward, and then for you to do any improvements or do any of those type of items, you'll have to do professional service resolutions or purchase resolutions. So it'll still come back. So really that ordinance won't go into effect probably to the end of August. So it probably won't be till September when you'll be able to actually start planning to use these funds.
And then if we go out for bidding, that takes longer.
Correct.
I know we've got one bid rejection on the agenda tonight because not everything comes in the way you expect necessarily.
Correct. Yes. Is the senior up for?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And street lighting, I think street lighting was also, some residents came during the year, wanting to have more street lights because it is dark around town.
Yeah, we did increase that budget line item also this year. We increased it last year and we increased it also this year.
Right. All right. And I guess 2 new things was we budgeted some funding for the Shade Tree Commission and the Human Relations Council. So those were requests.
Shade Tree.
Yeah, Shade Tree.
Shade Tree.
Yeah, Shade Tree.
Just Shade Tree.
Commission. Yeah, I said that. Yeah. And the Human Relations Council.
No.
No.
We didn't do a separate budget for the human, but the mayor has committed part of his budget to any of the funds that they request.
Just Shade Tree.
Okay. All right. I thought we were doing a
We
line
did
item.
it another.
It was requested.
We did it another way.
I just always
Correct.
line items because then you can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, maybe in the future. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say about the new positions, because we are growing. I mean, you could see it from Old Trenton Road to the train station to Route 1. We are growing with the residential growth that's coming in. So I think you mentioned 2 police officers, 2 EMTs, the ambulance, right? 2 DPW workers and 1 firefighter. So to keep up with the amount of calls that are continuously coming in, this is needed a lot, you know?
I know it's been on your top. It was the number one item on council's list for the last 3 years. But unfortunately, like I said earlier, we had an appropriation cap issue where it was very difficult, but we were very fortunate this year that we were able to get those positions in.
I see, I'm on fire police, so I see the calls come in around the clock. Sometimes there's multiple calls. Last week there's flooding on Washington Road, and then also there was a problem on Route 571. There's a digging issue there when they closed the road. So there was a lot going on, but this continues each day, all these calls around the clock. So
It does.
there's a need for it. It's not just it's a want, it's a need.
And DPW has a big need too. I mean, it's not just trimming the trees and running the DPW place over there, but they're out there with the snow, and they're out there with whenever there's a storm.
Yep.
And just making
Yeah, it's the
things.
first time we've increased their manpower in over 10 years. So
Yeah, and they have a whole group that takes care of the sewers and stuff too, so you don't always see them. Mayor, did you want to have any comment before we vote?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for working with me for the budget. John, I see your point about 3 million, but it's silly to say no to the free money. But we did, as John pointed out, we used it for one-time expense, so we are not dependent on it. And we had two big projects, where the sewer project and then the Avalon Road improvement to the circle. We are responsible for our share of it. So we had 2 options, and we had to pay the money. So we used it. I tried to help the federal government. I told him buy some T-bills. He says we can't do that. We are not allowed to do that. I did try to help them, but all in all, I mean, this is a good budget. We have increased EMTs by 2. Currently now we have, because we have increasing senior communities, so the need for EMTs is getting more and more. So currently now we have 7 to 7 dedicated ambulance coverage Monday through Friday, 7 days a week, sorry. Eventually the plan is go to 24 hours a day, dedicated ambulance and a dedicated 4-person fire engine. We currently do have a 4-person fire engine. We have an ambulance between 7 to 7 days a week. We did have police officers. The chief will tell you it's still not enough given the increased number of residents and the increased time they are required to spend on each call because of the new regulations. So that will have to continue increasing. And we did increase public works, and one of the most often complaints we get is, oh, the tree is not trimmed, the grass is not cut. We still won't be able to give you golf course type grass. There's just 26 square mile, and we still don't have enough workers, and a lot more to do than workers we have. But thanks to John, thanks to Marlena and everybody working, we do generate our share of revenue. I mean, as Andrea pointed out, we don't do zero budgets by taking out of surplus. In fact, the surplus was 987,000 when I became mayor in 1st January 2018. 31st December 24, the budget, the surplus was 7,817,000. That's a 700% increase in surplus. So next few years will be okay managing that. But again, as John said, the building is slowing down. So UCC revenue will slow down over the next 2-3 years. And we need to manage that. We need to manage that well too. That's going to be a challenge. So
Right. And when it comes to capital spending, I know DPW's come back with several labor saving capital requests that the council's been anxious to approve because it does save on labor also. So, it's a win-win when we use that kind of money. Okay, if anyone on council have anything more to say, if not, can we call the roll?
Good. Roll call vote. Gawes.
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you, John. We've now approved the 2025 budget.
Thank you very much. And like I said, within about a month, you'll be getting a draft ordinance so you can appropriate the 2025 capital budget. Okay, everybody, thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Allison, moving along to the next hearing.
Okay, 2025-03, an ordinance amending chapter 200 land use article 4, the procedures set forth for site plan approval and subdivision approval, sections 200-11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 of the Township Code of the Township of West Windsor.
Okay, I'm going to open up the hearing, the public hearing on just this ordinance. The next one is actually fairly similar to it. Does anybody wish to speak on this ordinance? Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Salute.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Gawes.
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Okay, and a vote, a motion to approve, a motion to adopt 2025-03.
Salute.
Second.
Is there any council discussion on it? Nope, I think we've discussed this one a lot. Seeing none, can I have a roll call?
Gawes.
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. 2025-04.
2025-04, an ordinance amending chapter 200 land use part 2, article 11, the procedure set forth for site plan approval and subdivision approval, sections 200-47, 49, 50, 53, and 54 of the Township Code of the Township of West Windsor.
Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing on 2025-04. Does anybody wish to speak? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Gawes.
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. And can I get a motion to adopt 2025-04?
Salute.
Second.
Okay, Gawes.
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
moving
this next one, after you read it, we're going to have a little presentation on it.
2025-06, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 200 Land Use Part 5, the Princeton Junction Redevelopment Plan Regulatory Provisions, Article 34, Land Use Controls, Section 200-268 of the Township Code of the Township of West Windsor to amend the RP9 Princeton Junction Redevelopment Plan District.
Okay, well, I'm going to call up Andy Lupo before we open the public hearing. I'm going to call up Andy Lupo, who is the chair of the Parking Authority, who's going to give us a little bit of background on this.
Thank you. Andy Lupo, 47 San Marco Street, Chairman of West Windsor Parking Authority. I appreciate you all taking the time to make this ordinance official for us. What the Parking Authority tries to do is continually evaluate our own footprint or adjacent properties to see if we can enhance the commuter experience of parking at the station. One site stood out for us, which was the bus garage. It's been sitting idle for a couple of decades. It's a contaminated site. And quite frankly, it's somewhat of an eyesore for the township to constantly drive by that. We have some experience in cleaning up contaminated sites, as you know, when we took the waste site and turned it into Upper Vaughan. And that's a successful project over a decade ago. We looked at this site and we thought we can take down the building, remove the tank, the oil tank that's there. We would look to turn it into about 40 parking spaces with some additional landscaping and then a small pocket park too. And we'd make this available for the township for some food truck experiences on weekends. with the development that's going on at Avalon, with the rebirth of the downtown area, we thought some additional parking would be helpful. As we look at the growth outside of just that area, we think parking is still going to be at a premium at the train station. So our thought was to try to turn this into something better for township, give some commuters possibly a shorter walk to the terminal. And for us, if you pass this, we would then be able to repurpose the land, which would make it available for some grant money that's related to remediation of soil. So we'd appreciate you taking a serious look at this and approving this ordinance.
Thank you, Andy. I'm now going to open the public hearing. So if anybody wants to come up and speak on this 2025-06.
Dave Kimmel, 11 Scott Avenue. I was reading, just still working? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I understand the purpose of the ordinance, as Andy said, and as I think the council understands. So to use this space for different use, to have a parking lot and a park, which could be beneficial for different reasons. I think that can be accomplished while also not deleting the part in kind of where it talks about the purpose of these lots and the land. I'm unclear why we're proposing to delete that. We should also be considering improvements for pedestrian and bicycle access along that stretch of road. Is there any discussion about why that was deleted? Is a question that I have. And this is a general statement. Wallace Road does have bike lanes for part of it, but they, even though the road is wide enough currently, the paint doesn't go all the way to 571. So I think that's something that could be implemented pretty quickly to just fix that oversight. But in general, my question is, why are we deleting something that could be good for safety for everybody, while also not affecting what the purpose of the ordinance is?
Does anybody else wish to get up and speak at the hearing? No, then at this point, I'll close the hearing and then we'll try to get an answer for you. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Gauss,
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Okay. Before we go on to council, Andy, do you have not sure about the question, but go ahead.
A little puzzled. What we're trying to do is just that parking, that space that's, dilapidated, changing that to the parking lot. The walkways would still stay in place. In fact, the walkways would be somewhat enhanced from safety perspective, because right now, you can't walk there. I don't know where the bike lanes are existing on that road. Our plan is not bike lanes. I just don't know how that's impacted by what we're looking to do on that site.
Okay, we're not adjusting the roads at this point. We're just.
No, the driveway would be formalized. Right now, Amtrak uses it as a right of way. We would formalize that. The signage would be improved. There'll be some lighting there that doesn't exist right now. I think that area would just become safer. And obviously a better purpose, because looking at it right now, there's nothing you can do there.
And when more definitive plans come in, that's a site plan issue, go to the planning board.
Yeah, we
All
have
those type of things would be discussed.
Well, we've had numerous TRC meetings with the township professionals. We do have a courtesy review with the planning board, but we're open to all suggestions. I'm just unaware of any bike-related suggestions so far. I don't see that impacting the parking lot, but certainly open to those conversations. I interpreted the question meaning that there might be an existing path now that just stops. So I'm not sure how that is on the actual bus garage property.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Andy. Does anybody have, would anybody like to, at this point, council, make a motion to adopt?
A comment. I didn't completely follow Dave's point, so would we be amenable to just?
Oh, what I was gonna do was just do a motion and then we'll have a council discussion. Mm,
Fine.
so that we can discuss it if we want.
All right, so motion to adopt.
Salute.
Okay, now council discussion.
Yeah, so I wasn't completely
Yeah, I was a
Yeah,
little.
well,
clear about, so if we all agree, would be okay for Dave to maybe clarify what his point was?
Technically reopen the public hearing
well,
in case anyone else wanted to say anything, but
yeah, it's.
yeah.
I mean, I can talk about.
You could, I
Yeah.
think there was some technical about the wording, which I'd have to look on my computer to see we'd have to see what the word,
Oh.
whatever, so I can't.
I mean, one of the things is, I mean, since I became mayor, I've been trying to find some use for that site. I've talked to several people. Nothing came out because it's contaminated, doesn't look good, and the Route 64 bridge and the pending upgrade of that bridge makes it even more difficult. So I was really thankful to Parking Authority for taking on the challenge and trying to make something useful of that. It's a very small portion of that road. I mean, it's just a very small portion. So I'm not sure adding a bike lane over just that small portion will achieve anything in there. Unless you do the whole Wallace Road, and then once the 571 is done, 571, the county is going to do the 571 between Cranberry and Alexander Road. Hopefully they'll go out to bid this summer and will be done before early next year. If they are going to add bike lane and to that road, once that's done, if something is feasible, we'll do it. But just adding to that site, and our professionals have looked at it, our attorney has looked at it, and this is what, I mean, they've had, as Andy said, they've had 3-4 meetings with the TRC, and they have looked at it. And again, when it comes to the planning board, if there are better suggestions, we are open. I mean, it's like a business, I mean, government partnership. It's not a private company trying to make money. It's all taxpayer money. It's either this pocket or his pocket. It's your pocket at the end of the day. So.
Okay, well, at this point, it sounds like there's some technicality in the words, but the design is pretty much made to be a large improvement over what's there now. And if somebody was to, yes, Mike? Mhm. Okay, I wasn't sure if there was
Not
something.
clear to me what is being.
Was something
proposed, that's
removed or,
why.
yes. It sounded like some words were removed from whenever this is a larger zone at some point. So at some point, there may have been some other words in that zone, but I don't think it's going to wind up affecting the final design. And I'm sure if it's looked at and somebody says, hey, let's put some bike parking there, and it looks like we want a bike rack or some other use that fits in with the rest of this, that'll be part of that design issue piece of it. So, yeah,
Right,
so it sounds more like there were some specific words for some purpose at some point, and it was cleaned up, and maybe there has been some misinterpretation.
I guess the question is, does the language in the ordinance change inhibit some of the options that Mr. Kimmel is suggesting?
I don't see anything, no.
And I don't understand it, so it's sort of a,
No, see, I mean,
question.
Yeah, try to get to that.
I mean, I don't object. I mean, I've been working with the parking authority for the past 2 years. And I know the amount of conversation and detailed discussions on this, and we're fully supportive of this. I think it's a great, it'll make a great improvement to
Yeah,
our community. I just want to make sure I understand the point that Mr. Kimmel is making, so that we don't do anything that
Found that there was something that you blocked there, you can always come back, revisit it, and then.
I don't think this is this is saying no to anything. That we're talking about. It just, we can make this as pedestrian friendly as the design permits, and as bicycle friendly as the design permits. And we're not really changing the roads, which have their
And I
own
guess
issues there.
At the time of site plan, those details could be looked at.
Yeah.
Presented some detailed plans to the planning board, also to all of TRC. And we didn't look to strike anything out. We certainly are supportive of the bike pedestrian group. And if there's something in, offline, if there's something specific that they're looking for, they can talk to us, and then we would look to include that in the final plan. So this should not be any type of conflict between the parking authority use of that land and the bike pedestrian group. So
Because you could ride your bike, anybody, to that property now.
when we're done, there'll actually be a sidewalk.
I don't-
It may not
Yeah,
be-
you
there'll be
probably
a
wouldn't
sidewalk.
want to. Yeah.
Right now, there's,
Right. So
there's
I'm
nothing
just
to
trying to
ride on
understand.
there. So I
what
think
the
this
issues
area will be cleaned up so much better that you actually can walk or ride without being in a car.
I think there's just more opportunity for you to continue to work in the spirit that you've always been working in, is to include and talk to the community and get feedback and make adjustments as required.
Absolutely. If they have a suggestion, like I said, I don't know if they're able to speak here, but we certainly can speak and work through the final adjustment before the planning board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
You have to reopen public.
Well, actually, there's two parts to this, and I can't have you speak now because the public hearing's closed.
It's okay for him to speak again.
He's here as a witness, as the chair. However, what I'm trying to say is that there's a two-part to this. So the second part, if you want to get up, there's another ordinance referring to this, so there will be another public hearing. So if you want to get up and make another comment, you will have that opportunity. And we do have to pass both of these parts. All right. Okay, so at this point, can I have, if everybody's ready here, can I have?
Make one other quick comment that by cleaning up, it's not just for parking, that there could be events and food trucks, different things there. And these kind of things can help us get a grant.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's real money.
After the ordinance is passed, we are able to apply for the grant, the HD SRF.
And one of the things we really would like to do is clean up the toxic mess that's there, which is not helping anybody's health, and which I don't particularly want anybody biking there. So it seems like going to be a win-win. All right. Anybody else before I move on here? We have a motion, so we're ready for the roll call.
Roll call vote. Okay. Gawas,
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next one.
Next one, 2025-07, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 200, Land Use of the Princeton Junction redevelopment plan of the Township Code of the Township of West Windsor by modifying the RP9 district.
Okay, Andy, you've already spoken, so I'm going to open the public hearing on 2025-07. Yeah, yes?
Okay.
Oh, name and address again.
Dave Kimmel, 11 Scott Avenue. Yeah, I was just making I am on the West Windsor Bicycle Pedestrian Alliance. We didn't talk about this at our meeting, I don't think. So I was just making more of a personal comment. And I don't think there's any conflict. So I just there's no, I don't see any conflict. I was just, and I want to apologize for any confusion of my comments. My comment was that I observed that the purpose of the ordinances are to create this new use, which I've heard the benefits for. And when I looked at the materials with the meeting, you see the strike throughs, the underlines. And what I was commenting on is that the part that's struck through, it says like the purpose of, originally it would say something like, these lots are proposed to convert bus depot for a public park and land set aside for Wallace Road improvements and pedestrian bicycle access to a crossing of the rail line at Princeton Heightstown Road Bridge. So what's deleted is using some land for pedestrian and bicycle improvements. So my question was why, I don't think that's incompatible with what the goals are of having a parking lot and a public park. I think that can also be a acceptable use in that zone. So that's the comment I was trying to make.
So you were saying the original, I don't have it in front of me, and I actually don't memorize them. I know it shocks people. So you're saying the original ordinance for that zoning had some words in it about a bicycle use or something like that. And that when this was redone, it was kind of clean. It was kind of, I didn't write it, so, but usually what happens is it's sort of made specifically for what they're trying to do. So it was probably just cleaned up a little bit at that point to specify what's going to be built. So that doesn't mean that what's going to be built isn't like that, where we specifically know more now about what's actually going to be built. Is that making sense to you, Mike? Is that the way you understand it? I don't have.
I'm at a loss as to what he's saying.
I think he's just saying that there was a change.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Well, I have it in front of me, so I think on page 66 of our package, there's a strikeout. It says with land set aside for Wallace Road improvements and pedestrian and bicycle access to a crossing of the rail line at the Princeton Heightstown Road Bridge. Is that what you were concerned about?
Yeah, it's deleted in both of them. So I'm wondering why that was the case.
Okay, so that was probably whatever the original use was, or something saying if you were going to build something that should be set aside for that. But they can look at the final design here and make it all work out without the specific language, because now they have an actual design that to start with. Okay, and yeah. You haven't used your 3 minutes up, so if you do need it.
So the language is specific to allow for this remediation and grants to be applied for. Without this specific language, you can repurpose it, but you wouldn't be able to apply for the grants. So we had to strike certain word, not that we look to strike that specifically out.
Folks, can we have one conversation? Thank you.
We had to word it so that it can be memorialized so that we can apply for the appropriate grants for the remediation soil.
Okay, so basically you did have to make it specific to that project so that we could go ahead and apply for that remediation and.
It's for the grant
application. Okay.
And again, I mean, thanks to Linda, I'm reading it. I don't know how old that is, but it says bicycle access to a crossing of the rail line at the Princeton Heightstown Road Bridge. In today's day and age, Amtrak or NJ Transit would never let you cross that road line. I mean, if that was the original intent, that's the way I read it, crossing of the rail line at the
crossing the rail line? So that was probably when the rail line was at level with the ground.
That's
yeah.
That's what it reads with land set as the struck out portion is with the land set aside for Wallace Road improvements and pedestrian and bicycle access to a crossing of the rail line at the Princeton Heightstown Road Bridge. So,
yeah.
Space.
Remember, that's a county road.
And that's part of.
Yeah.
It's really why it's triggered, it's not. jurisdiction.
It's really part of a road project and the
Yeah.
bridge. You
Yeah.
know, there's gonna be a
Yeah.
Well,
major.
is a separate project to improve that section on 571 on
Right.
Kingston Heights Town Road,
And-
which is a completely separate project.
And the bridge is being done separately also. Okay. We're all fine, okay? All right, thanks. Did anyone else wish to speak in the public hearing?
William Rutledge, 19 Scott Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this property is at the corner of the crossing of the bridge with Princeton Heights Town Road. And so the purpose that Mr. Kimmel is discussing being crossed out is the opportunity to use that property to enhance access to the bridge. So by removing it, you can't add a stair, that's what it sounds like, or another ramp to get down to the, let's say, get down to the train station more quickly than going all the way to Wallace. So I'm not talking about the bridge, sir. I'm talking about the property.
Mike,
I'm not talking about the bridge.
please let him finish.
We're talking about the property in question. Why are you changing the topic?
Okay. Okay. Do you have any more?
Please, again, if I'm not listening, I'll listen better.
The bridge is road fronted by the county. It is raised above the property. It is not the purpose of what we're doing here today to try to take over.
Mike, can you speak in the mic?
It's not our purpose here today to interfere with the county's jurisdiction on this matter. They are the ones that would design any access to that road from the property. We don't have that jurisdiction.
So it's been struck through from the property used to say that we could improve access to, but you're saying was never possible.
Because it's a county design, it's a county bridge, it's a county road. The county would have to design
Improving
it.
access to the bridge, not changing the bridge, but access to it is still not part of.
If you want to take a look at it, here's the property. I don't know where along here you'd want to have access for bikes on the property. It's all raised.
Pedestrians could use stairs. I'm just,
Whatever you want to. What else?
yeah, same to you, sir.
Mike, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rutledge. Okay, at this point, I'm sure whatever can be done on this property to make it, for one thing, this is a parking lot that needs to go to the train station. So we know that they're going to do whatever they need to do to get to the train station. So, and as far as the rest of the design, that will be part of the design.
The part of the design, there is a sidewalk that will connect you to the train station. So pedestrians will have that access, and that's part of the project, right, Andy?
Exactly. The backside of this property is actually owned by Amtrak. So we only have the front part, which is where the bus garage is. And then the non-existent sidewalk now will be replaced with an actual sidewalk. And that will provide safe passage in front of the Amtrak area and then past the Wallace permit lot into the terminal.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak in the public hearing? Hearing none at this point, I am going to close the public hearing. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
Vote?
Gauss,
yes.
Chevers. Yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
Salute.
Adopt.
I'm sorry, adopt.
Sorry,
Yes,
adopt.
yes.
Salute.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, is there any more council discussion at this point, or can we vote on the vote?
I would just like to say that while we strive to follow our procedures of allowing the public to make comments, that applies to everybody up here and council as well, and that we should refrain from interrupting people while they're speaking. We give them that time to make a public comment. We say it's not a discussion, so we shouldn't be instigating public in conversations when they're making public comments.
I think we've kind of allowed the public to make comments. We shouldn't.
interrupt them, and that's, we don't let them interrupt us, and so we should show
No,
the same
don't.
respect to the public and not interrupt them.
I agree. We do not interrupt the public. All right. Okay, can I get if there's no more comment, can I get a roll call vote?
Gawes,
Yes.
Chevers,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you, Andy, for coming in and doing this. And thank you to the public who spoke. And I want to assure everybody that this will be shown at the planning board and there'll be more opportunities to give comments on the final design. All right. I believe that's it for our hearings. We want to
Okay.
get on to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda. We have minutes, January 15th, 2025, business session as amended. January 15th, 2025, closed session as amended. March 24th, 2025, business session as amended, bills and claims.
Does anybody wish to pull anything? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Gawes,
Yes.
Chevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yeah.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Okay. Moving along through this very long list.
2025-R120, authorizing the reappointment of Jason E. Harris as construction official and granting tenure effective June 1st, 2025. 2025-R121, authorizing the refund of a zoning permit. 2025-R122, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the revised use and hold harmless agreement with Hamilton Township previously approved by Resolution 2025-R098 for use of the Hamilton Police Range as an alternative training location for the West Windsor Police Division. 2025-R123, granting reservation of sewer capacity for the Casper Rowing Center Project, PB 19-19, Block 25, Lots 7 and 10. 2025-R124, authorizing release of partial reimbursement of funds to Avalon Bay Communities, Inc. for the project known as Princeton Junction Train Station Redevelopment, PB 20-15. 2025-R125, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Roberts Engineering Group for engineering, construction, administration, and inspection services for the new Edinburgh Road resurfacing project, $32,600. 2025-R126, authorizing the award of contract for the new Edinburgh Road resurfacing project to Kyle Conti Construction and authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute said contract for $1,065,601. 2025-R127, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Aurora and Associates to provide professional engineering, survey, and design services at Wallace Road and Alexander Road intersection and Old Trenton Road and Bear Creek Boulevard intersection for $10,500. 2025-R128, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with Spiesel Architectural Group, Inc. for architectural design services for the project known as West Windsor Arts Center roof replacement for an increase of $1,623.68 for a total not to exceed of $11,523.68. 2025-R129, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with Spiesel Architectural Group, Inc. to provide architectural services for the West Windsor Arts Center Mobility Lift Replacement Project for an increase of $881.03 for a total not to exceed $7,081.03. 2025-R130, authorizing the business administrator to purchase Duo multi-factor authentication software from SHI International Corp. Under the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance Contract CK04, Subcontract 24-38 with the County of Bergen, $17,372. 2025-R131, authorizing the rejection of bids for the project known as Senior Center Gazebo Replacement. 2025-R132, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute facility use rental agreements for Princeton Tiger Swim Team, Hamilton Aquatics Club, Cranberry Township Recreation Camp, and Robbinsville Township Recreation Camp to use the Waterworks facility. 2025-R133, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a developer's agreement between West Windsor Township and Benjamin Zeitz, PB 19-13, Second Amendment, Block 33, Lot 1.02. 2025-R134, resolution to adopt a complete and green streets policy for West Windsor Township. And 2025-R135, authorizing the business administrator to purchase new fitness equipment and surfacing from MRC Inc. at Community Park under Educational Services Commission Co-op number 65, MCESCCPS, contract ESCNJ 24/25-01 for $55,107.57.
Does anybody wish anything pulled? Nope. You seeing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve 2025-R120 through 2025-R135.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Gawaz?
Yes.
Chevers?
Yes.
Weiss?
Yes.
Whitfield?
Yes.
Mandel?
Yes. Okay, introduction of ordinances.
2025-R-08, an ordinance amending and supplementing Part 2, General Legislation of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of West Windsor, New Jersey, 1999, Chapter 4, Administration of Government, Section 4-37, Police Division.
Okay. Can I get a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second, please. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Gawaz?
Yes.
Chevers?
Yes.
Weiss?
Yes.
Whitfield?
Yes.
Mandel?
Yes.
Public hearing will be June 16th, 2025.
Okay, I'm now opening up for an additional public comment. Does anybody else wish to give a additional public comment? John?
Good evening again, John Church, 11 Princeton Place. Driving through the new roundabout that's fortunately now in operation, we all have noticed that the road work really there has not been finished at all. There's rough spots. The exit from Vaughan Drive onto 571 isn't finished. There should be a sign there. There should be road striping. In other words, they're not anywhere near finishing the road work there. And it's very frustrating to the public when we drive through there. So all those barrels are still there. So if the mayor or someone can give an update on when they're expected to actually finish this road work, that would be much appreciated, I think, by all the residents. And thank you. And again, I want to express my appreciation for the budget work that everyone did and passed the budget. I think it's a good budget, and we'll look forward to it. All the money that you now have being expended in the correct ways. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Would anybody else like to speak?
Hello, Amber Henry, 304 Cranberry Road. So thank you for approving budget for 2025. I just wanted to comment on Rabbit Hill Road that we have approved the design in the last budget for the sidewalk and changes on Cranberry Road and Rabbit Hill, but they still haven't been done. And so I don't know if that is on the radar or is getting slipped down to the side or something. And then also the lighting that was approved, still New York City. What's our
PSEG.
PSEG still hasn't done that. And so also just curious about that. So just those two things to keep on your radar to make sure that those get done so that we can have the sidewalk improvements in the budget as planned. So thank you.
Thank you. Con Ed made me like a deja vu from my childhood. Okay. Does anybody else wish to get up and give public comment at this point? No? Okay. I'm going to close the public comment and I'm going to ask the mayor if you can give a couple of comments. John Church asked about the new roundabout. When you think the road work will be finished to start?
I will check when it will be finished. I don't know top of my head when it will be finished. But they have every incentive to finish because they need to get paid. They won't be paid until the road is done. Avalon, I mean. We have to pay. They're spending more money than their share of development. So that's one of the two big expenses I spoke about when we got that free money. So they have every incentive to finish that road as fast as they possibly can. And they will start requesting COs this summer too. And then that one drive bypass that you keep asking about is going to open too. I didn't say, but I wanted to thank parking authority. They finished the parking lot on the other side, made it level. So all we have to do is remove those barriers and you can, before they put the barriers, I've driven through that. I can tell you, it works.
Okay. And then Amber Henry asked about the Rabbit Hill Road, Cranberry Road sidewalk.
I don't know about the specific lights. We did some of the improvements approved last year's budget, like along Bear Brook Road and other places. They did put new lights. I think if I remember right, they were going to increase the wattage of the bulbs, not new bulbs on what's the crossroad. And I will check with Francis when that's done or not.
And she also asked about the Cranberry Road sidewalk.
Yeah, the budget was approved, not the
I think
sidewalk
they're
design.
supposed to.
So I will
supposed to go
check,
for bid,
I will
right?
check where it stands with the design work. Yeah.
Tony, do you want to? Okay. Thank you. And now we can go into council reports. Discussion, start with Linda.
Oh, the Shade Tree Commission will meet next on Wednesday, May 28th at 6:30 PM in room B.
Thank you. Martin?
Yeah, so Human Relations actually met this evening. The previous meeting was on Tuesday, May 6th. They're continuously working on the first annual community cookout, which take place Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 2 PM at Community Park. At this time, they've been finalizing musical entertainment, dance groups, and a kids puppet show. They will have a workshop for cricket, badminton, baseball, and many other games available for kids and families. Entrance to the event obviously is free, but there will be food trucks selling food for our residents. And the planning board will meet this Wednesday at 6:30 PM. Thank you.
And we will hopefully be able to announce the winner of the logo contest, which I hope everybody enters. Sonia?
Parking Authority met on May 14th. The NJ Transit strike was discussed in length. We don't need to talk about it any further because it's taken care of now. The bus depot project was discussed as well. And now that the ordinances have passed, the application for the HDSRF grant would be able to be completed. The TV grant application is due by July 1st, so that application was discussed. The Wallace wait list is being scrubbed right now, and a strategy for going back to all permits versus current split usage was reviewed. So they're looking into that. Then affordable housing has not met since we met last time. As far as emergency management, everybody would have seen a large convoy of fire trucks this weekend in our township. And I think the fire companies did a good job and of letting everybody know that there was no emergency. It was a fire drill practice from all over state. All the convoy came to our town to practice drafting of water supply. And it was a scene to see. I
Yeah, it
know
was.
Linda was a part of that as well to help with trafficking and thing, but I think.
We started at 7 a.m. I got done 1:45. So it was.
Yeah,
5
it
hours.
started at 7 in the morning and
Yes.
went, but the convoy was practicing for last couple of weeks, but this weekend was the main event when everybody came together. So
Right.
it was really interesting to see how the water was getting drafted from ponds and creeks and.
Oh, yeah. Some of those tankers had, one tanker had 6,000 gallons.
Yeah.
Of water. That was a
Yeah.
big one.
Especially with all the forest fires that we are seeing in recent times, I think this was a very important drill that all our volunteers participated in.
Right. It's a lot of this is required too.
Yes.
Certificates, training, constantly on.
Constant, right,
Constant
exactly.
requirements from the state.
Yep. All right, that's it.
Dan?
The Board of Ed met last week. It was the last meeting for this school year where the student council liaisons did their presentation. So it was a great send off for them. The entire meeting was a grand total of 20 minutes. Wish we could be so lucky.
Yeah.
But it was mostly just passing some sort of rudimentary stuff. 2 weeks ago, the Parks and Rec Commission met. They are, in full swing of getting the summer programs going. The pool is ready for opening shortly. They are going to, I think I mentioned this before, they're going to a cashless model at the desk. So
That's going to be really popular
Yeah.
because people come there, forget that they have to bring cash and then they get upset.
yes,
So
there's
I
no
think the
ATM.
cashless would be
So,
really good.
and I think we mentioned this last week, they probably at this point it's completed, but they were the final phases of completing all the repaving project of the loop, a little extra there. So that looks much nicer now.
I'm looking forward to jumping in.
Yes.
Yes. By the way, did they say anything about food?
The food vendor?
They had not yet found a vendor. They had
It's-
one vendor that then backed out at the last minute.
I mean, I never used
the
it, but a
same
lot of
story for
people, that's a
last
big
years.
thing they keep asking about.
Yeah.
All right, well, hopefully.
Yeah, Dana was there, and she's gonna refer them to the new vendor that the school is using. Maybe that's a possibility.
They're actually pretty good. Okay. The Environmental Commission met on May 8th. They will be reviewed and they reviewed and endorsed the complete and green streets policy that was on today's agenda. Sorry, I'm losing my voice by now. Agenda. They also discussed a potential program to reduce the use of gas-powered leaf blowers and reviewed the Sustainable Jersey certification submission that was just submitted in mid-May. If most of the accomplishments submitted get accepted, we'll have enough to maintain silver certification, which is the highest certification. The Environmental Commission and Engineering will continue to work on submitting more accomplishments for the final July submission for this year to maximize the points. Are there any more administration updates? No, seeing none, we're going to be going into a closed session. So Allison, do you want to?
A motion to go into closed and then a second.
And then you'll read the, okay, can I get a motion to go into closed session to discuss affordable housing?
So moved.
Second.
All right, can we roll call?
Okay.
Roll call on the motion?
Roll call vote. Oh,
Yeah, that's a roll call.
Charles,
Yes.
Jeevers.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to read my section here, whereas NJSA 10:4-12 allows for a public body to go into closed session during a public meeting, and whereas the Township Council of West Windsor Township has deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain matters which are exempted from the public. And whereas the regular meeting of this Township Council will reconvene, and whereas the below stated subject matter shall be made available at such time as the issues discussed therein are resolved, and its disclosure would not subvert any particular exception for convening a closed session. Now therefore be resolved that the Township Council of the Township of West Windsor will go into closed session for the following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12 for the discussion of affordable housing, and there will be no action taken when we come back from closed.
Okay, we'll do that and then we'll.